It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Time for the Southern California Writers Hump Day Book Tour. I'm your host, Maddie Margarita, here with Diana Pardee on Tech. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Southern California Writers Association turns our Facebook group over to a different author to introduce themselves, their work, and maybe share a writing tip or two. So take a break, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy as SCWA's Hump Day Book Tour welcomes Jo Perry. Good morning, Jo.
Good morning.
So let's start off talking about how you started writing. Did you start off as a novel writer, or did you start off in a different way?
I'm a late bloomer, if you can call this blooming, I don't know. I always wrote. I was a literature major. I wrote poetry. I have a PhD. I taught writing, taught English and all that. But after my kids were grown and gone, I wrote my first novel. I was 63, and I'm older than that now, and it's Dead is Better.
64, right?
63 was then. What a lovely youthful time that was. Anyway, and I think I just had not, had the time in a way to focus on a novel.
So you wrote for TV?
Yes, right? I was an academic, and then we moved to LA, and I wrote for TV with my husband, Thomas Perry. We were a team for a few years, and then I stopped doing that when our first child was born, because it was very incompatible work.
Okay, so before we talk about your books, what was your favorite TV series that you wrote for?
Simon and Simon.
Simon.
Really, it was a great group, and it was a really fun show, and it was at its peak, and they were really fun. There's a lot of humor, so I loved it. That was great.
Okay, so we'll now bridge between the humor and your series.
Okay.
So you want to tell everybody a little bit about that? It has a very unique bent to it.
Okay, well, the first book is Dead is Better, and there are 4 books in the series. It's about a dead man and a dead dog. So my protagonists they're the victims, I guess. My character wakes up in the afterlife, and it's a very low rent, plain sort of afterlife, and he's been shot, but he doesn't know who killed him or why. So with him in the afterlife is this dog who's dead, who's obviously has suffered in life. And he doesn't know, does everybody get an animal and a companion once they die? But they go back to the living world to find out who killed him and why. And that's the setup for Dead is Better. I'm frozen. Do I do that thing again? Let's see.
Yeah, there we go. We could try. Let's try that again.
And
doing good.
Anyway, that's the setup for Dead is Better. So, and there are 3 others: Dead is Best, Dead is Good, and Dead is Beautiful.
So how did you decide to, or what inspired you to write the story this way and to start out with this unique point of view?
Well, it's interesting. I guess I'd been thinking a lot about death. Death is really what is the heart of every mystery. And I wanted death to be the mystery itself. So, excuse me, I don't know why I'm doing that. He not only has to figure out who killed him, but he really has to sort of accustom himself to death and understand what it is. And obviously look back at his own life. So it's occasion for a lot of discovery and reflection, my character. But I'm getting older, and actually what I think inspired it was going to Costco and we realized that the long life bulbs were going to live longer than we were going to live, probably.
Oh my God.
You kind of say, wow, well, so I thought a lot about death.
So as a reader, what do you think readers, when they read your stories and your books, what do you hope that they find, and what kind of experience do you hope that they have?
That's interesting. These are told in the first person, so it's a lot of the main character's voice. I don't know, I hope they laugh, it's funny, and I hope they're moved, and I hope they have fun with it. It is a mystery, and it is fun.
You know, as a writer, writing a dead person who's relatable has to be a challenge because, well, first of all, I guess you're making up the experience, but how did you come to developing his character, Charlie's character?
Well, he's a ghost, and I have to say that although I guess it's technically a paranormal series, it really doesn't have many of the features of the paranormal. It's a very minimalist ghost. You know, they cannot be seen or heard in the living world. They cannot affect anything. So if you know the Topper movies,
Yeah,
I used to love those. There's none of this cups flying or anything like that, or noises. They can go, pass through walls and be anywhere, but that's all they can do. So for me, as a mystery writer, that was a big problem. How does someone who can't be seen or heard fix something, solve a problem? And they have to solve a very serious problem right away in Dead is Better. So it's a lot of challenges. He doesn't carry a gun. He can't go to the computer. He can't talk to his cop friend. He can't talk to his hacker friend. He's on his own, he and the dog. And the relationship with the dog is central. The dog is a protagonist as well. And he discovers, I think many surprising things and not what he expected about himself and about the dog. But it's really a fun, I don't have to worry about gunfights and all sorts of things that seem to come with the genre. So that was fun. It's kind of, I think that I'm Jewish. I think that the Jewish sort of non-view of the afterlife kind of informed it without me being conscious of it. It's just you're in this other place. It's not heaven. It's not hell. It's just a kind of no place.
Like, Brooklyn. Oh, no. But it is set in LA, right?
It is set in LA. He lived in Hollywood. He goes back, he goes to his own funeral, he sees his family, there's a family business involved. He goes and listens to the person he hates the most, his shit brother. He goes to places he didn't like and places he did like. He goes to, in the second book, Beverly Hills, which is the place he hates the most on earth. He calls it Beverly fucking Hills. It's a lot about LA, and the actual, crimes involve some of the social problems in LA, and I write about LA mostly.
So as much as there is humor in the books, when I read it, I had a feeling of, there was a feeling of almost existential frustration of not being able to solve things and deal with things because he's looking at it from a distance, which I think that people can relate to when you look at problems. Was that easy to write or to accomplish, or difficult?
A late middle-aged woman knows all about being invisible, about not being heard and not being seen. I think most people, I don't mean to, throw a wrench into the empowerment movement, but we are, what can you do? We're sitting here watching a global pandemic, all these things. You do feel helpless. And yes, you can do something. This is not about not being able to do something. If a dead guy can do something, okay, we can all do something. But, I think a lot of us grapple with those feelings. And I think especially, women are of a certain age are just not seen. You know what I mean? They're just no longer viable or visible in a way. And it is a kind of ghost existence of when you were more desirable or prettier or whatever, more of a commodity. So I think I had an experience of that.
So what are you working on now? So you have your 4-book series, right?
Right. I should also say that a dog discovered me, and the dog also inspired the book and my relationship with the dog. So it's very much about dogs also. The book I'm working on now, I feel very superstitious about it, is about a living person. There are no ghosts. There's a lot of death, however, in it. And there is a dog. And I don't know how much I want to say. It's really walking a very crazy line between the supernatural and the real world. And it's someone who, how do I say this? It involves a lot of death culture and death practices that I've been reading about, and someone involved in that and death work, let's say, who comes upon a body that she feels may have been murdered. That's really the setup. But
so, okay, so when you're writing a story like this, or you're writing your other books, how do you come up with the inspiration for the theme? I mean, I understand the world kind of and the world view, but how do you come up with the plots that are complement that worldview?
Well, I think that character is sort of plot. I mean, only certain kinds of things are going to happen to your character. I don't know how, character is plot. Their response to problems is what drives your plot and shapes the plot. So my character, Charlie and Rose, their characters, this dog, this sweet dog, this wise dog, and this sort of cynical guy, certain things, happen. And they're called back from the afterlife to help people either they were connected to in life and things like that. And things that sort of, I guess I'm interested in certain kinds of crimes and certain kinds of things. And I would say that I shy away from the big sort of Moriarty, genius, criminal kind of conspiracy. I think there's enough cruelty and criminal behavior just every day. It's very casual, like cruelty to animals, cruelty to dogs, the homeless, just indifference. And so I don't think you have to look far for crimes or crimes of the heart or crimes, they're not all, I don't think you have to have this hugely complex motivation. People are, thoughtless or selfish or whatever. So there's that issue. But in this one, I don't outline, so I don't have it all. I can't tell you everything about the new one and what the crime is. But it's that kind of scale. I don't do those sort of 007 kinds of world domination sort of crimes. Things like
so it's relatable, and I think people who are looking for books that are interesting and fresh and different. I guess fresh isn't always a term you use about dead people, but maybe the point of view is fresh. This would be a great book, and I loved the point about if this is what I'm going to remember, if dead people can make a difference, so can you. So maybe that should be the tagline of these books. If you're looking for entertaining books to read during the pandemic, and you are feeling helpless or feeling like it's maybe you can't make a difference, to read a book like this might be a great distraction and maybe even an inspiration. Do you think that's fair?
He's a very, I will say that he has the main character swears a lot, and for some people that's an absolute, a line they won't cross. I think that men often express deep emotion that way. And so I think that's how he, instead of sobbing, he lets go, lets loose verbally. I think there's some, people have been moved by it, but, he's a good guy. He wasn't a hero. He was kind of sleeping through his life. And in other ones, I touch on other issues, other, parts of LA, the garment district. In fact, if you saw that story about Paris Hilton talking about her time in an abusive school for troubled teens, I write about that troubled teen industry in the second book, about teenagers who are shipped away to these schools. So, it isn't all just, it's a varied kind of series. But
so are you continuing to write this series?
Well, I don't know, because then I'm writing this other one now, and I may go back. I may.
Okay. All right. So if people are interested in buying your books, Jo, where can they find them?
Well, my publisher is a British crime fiction publisher, Fahrenheit Press. I recommend you go to the site and Look at the list. It's really good. It's really fun, very varied. If you buy the book from them, you get a free ebook and you're supporting an independent publisher. Otherwise, it's on Amazon or indie bookstores here in you know.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your insight and your work with us this morning. I know people who are interested, like I said, in inspiring books that with a message that maybe in some dark humor would enjoy them. And thank you for your time. And we'll see you soon, hopefully, in person. Okay, so I want to thank you all for being here. And if you enjoyed this bookshot with Joe Perry, please like and subscribe. And if you are interested in more videos like this, please go to the SCWA Facebook page, and to our website, or to our new YouTube channel. So Joe, we're going to see you on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, my kids will be proud of me now.
Stardom. All right, so until next week, I hope you all stay safe and well. And we will see you next Wednesday with Ellen Byron.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, until then, stay safe and we'll see you then.
Thank you very much.